Hi everyone, my name is Danny. Welcome to another video on Danny's Corner. Today I want to talk about assimilation. What is assimilation and how does that impact somebody like me who's an American? For those of you joining me for the first time, welcome to this channel. My name is Danny. I'm a totally blind person. And in this channel, what I try to do with all of my videos is to teach people on how to communicate with somebody who is totally blind and who may have other disabilities, as well as how to be aware when somebody's blind and how to treat them. Furthermore, I also try to have them be aware of spiritual blindness. This means to have them able to see within inside them and perhaps change some of those attitudes that they may not be seeing right now, but they more than likely have. And this is what I want to talk about today. So what is assimilation? Assimilation is the process of, number one, people coming into the United States from other countries and adopting the mannerisms, customs, and even learning the language of the country. And this can not only happen in the United States, but in other countries as well. Whatever country you go to, you're going to have to learn the language, learn the customs, etc., and able to fit in with the society. And so you there will be accepted and hopefully gain either residence or citizenship after some years. But what happens when, as a minority, in this case as a totally blind person, you're living in the United States, you were born here, and it's hard to assimilate to a culture such as this one? What happens? I have talked about attitudinal barriers in my other videos, and I frequently speak about blindness, about my other disabilities, and how it's really hard for somebody like me to fit in. So, and able to talk about this, I want to frame this in the context of the pandemic. During the pandemic, we had at least a year or two where we were forced to do things that were against us or that we did not like. Such things included wearing a mask, not going out. Perhaps there were people who didn't want to wash their hands all the time or sanitize their hands all the time, use hand sanitizer, and a lot of other things. But in spite of what we may have wanted or not, this was imposed on us. Great. Some people took it well, some people didn't, and some people were just used to it. It's more of the same. I was in that third group. It's more of the same. Why? Because as you're growing, as a blind person, even when you're born this way, it takes time. But you learn to understand that you're going to have to do some things that you may not always be so excited to do. Participate in things that you don't understand. And I repeat, do things that you do not want to do because you do not understand them or you don't agree. And people don't have time for any of your silly questions. That's the way that I understood it ever since I was a child. And even today, I still have some of that where I have to take some stuff that I don't agree with, and I'm going to have to live with them. And I try to change that mindset by doing these videos. So, with the pandemic, as I said before, we had to do these things, and some people didn't like it. So that's what assimilation is like. We may have to do things that we don't like, but ultimately they will benefit us in one way or the other. But what happens when, as a minority, we have to assimilate to the culture, but the rest of the culture doesn't think necessary to assimilate to us? That's where the problem begins. If anything, the pandemic was supposed to teach us that we are all going to hit rough times at some point in our lives. And we're going to have to do things that we do not agree with. But it's in these times when we can have empathy for others. It's in these times when we can take that time that has been given to us, even if it's by sheer force. We can take that time and say, I choose to use this time to reevaluate my life. Some of the things that I'm doing. Ultimately, what this pandemic did was not only give us time to think about those things, but it also gave us time to learn new things, because that was the modality. With that said, I believe we do have a way outside of the pandemic to implement these new things. In my case, for example, as a totally blind individual, I go out every day, every single day. I go out into the world knowing that it's going to be a struggle. I wake up every day knowing that I'm here and I can either make the best of it or the worst of it. So when I interact with someone, I'm choosing to interact with that person. I'm choosing to be proactive. I'm choosing to go out to a world and start talking. And one of the things that I like is when people approach me and start doing the same thing. When it happens. However, many times people don't do that. What people tend to do is they see a person like me who's totally blind, and maybe those of you who are watching can confirm this or not. I'm just giving you the impressions that I have gotten through my experiences of being in this place. I get the sense that people don't want to talk to me because of fear of what they may say, which could be something wrong and perhaps hurtful. Perhaps they are afraid that they might do the wrong thing, not just say, but do the wrong thing. Also, it has to do with the facial expression that a person has. In this case, for example, I believe that when more than one person is gathered together, what brings people together is how other people are. I believe that reflects upon each and everyone's face. they're happy, they're smiling. There's something that goes on when a person is interacting with one another. However, how do you get that with a totally blind person? In my case, I have never seen myself. It's more than obvious. And so, from the feedback that I have got, not directly told to me, but you can perceive how people think based on the feedback that you're getting, the non-verbal feedback, if you will. I'm assuming that people do not approach people like me because I may look angry. I already know that I am serious when I speak, and so I'm assuming that I may also look that way. Other people have told me that I am uptight, and on and on. However, how would you know all of that just by seeing me? I think when it comes to judging a book by its cover, some, if not most, sighted people do that every day. They judge a book by its cover and don't take the time to get close to a person and really get to know them. Not just the physical aspect. Oh, he's blind. What does he have to teach me? Or that person is serious. He probably doesn't want to talk. He probably looks sleepy or with his eyes closed or her eyes closed. And I just don't want anything to do with that person. The only way that we can find out what the other person is thinking or what the other person might be feeling is by going over and talking to that person. There's nothing wrong with saying, "Excuse me, I would just like to have a few words with you, have a chat, sit down. But if you don't feel well, I understand." That's all it takes. As a blind person, how am I supposed to know who's in the room with me? How am I supposed to know if they're busy? How am I supposed to know if they are walking away or not? In a place where I don't know, everybody's walking to and fro. How am I supposed to walk around and do the meet and greet? I think this is what the pandemic was supposed to teach us, is, if nothing else, it was supposed to teach us to become more self-aware of ourselves, of what we're doing. I'm going to make a second part to this video and let you know a little bit more about what I think, some of the steps that we can take. Thank you for watching this video. If you have liked this content, don't forget to subscribe, to share, to like, and to leave a comment. Also, if you would like to check out some of my other videos, you're more than welcome to. I appreciate all the comments that I have gotten. I have not had a chance to go through most of them, but I will. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.